Okay, so let's dive right in. You know that feeling, the one where you kind of start to wonder about like how safe your job really is,
Oh, yeah.
with the economy doing its thing and the news always talking about layoffs and AI taking over everything. It's tough to just ignore it, you know?
Absolutely. And it goes beyond just the money part of it, too, although that's a big one, obviously.
Right.
It's more about how, for a lot of people, their work is so tied into who they are, like it's part of their identity. And then there's the whole feeling of stability that a job brings,
Yeah.
like knowing where you stand in the world.
Exactly. It's not like we can just pretend those worries don't exist. So, we're going to really dig into why we even get this fear in the first place, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it.
Yeah, taking control. That's the key.
Think of this deep dive as a way to feel a little bit more in control and start building some real resilience in your career. We've gone through a ton of info to get to the heart of what really matters.
And, one thing that really struck me while we were going through all this is that sometimes just the worry itself, just worrying about losing your job,
Hmm.
that can be more mentally exhausting than actually going through job loss.
Oh, interesting.
It's like our minds jump to the absolute worst case scenario and we get stuck there.
Oh, yeah, totally. You start catastrophizing.
And that can really drain you.
Okay, so let's break down what we found. Why does this fear even grab hold of us in the first place? What are those core reasons? It can't be just one thing, right?
Right. It's a combination of things.
From what we've seen, one of the biggest is that threat of financial instability. The thought of not being able to keep up with bills, take care of your family, that's a huge weight on people.
Yeah, it really is. Having that basic security, knowing your income is stable, it lets you plan for the future. It impacts so many other parts of your life too.
For sure. And then on top of that, we see how closely our work is tied to our identity. So for many people, their job, what they do for a living, it's a huge part of who they are. It's their social life, their accomplishments. If you take that away, it's a big loss.
Yeah, it's like your job provides the structure for your whole day, your
Mhm.
interactions, your goals. When that gets disrupted, it's like you lose more than a paycheck. You lose that anchor.
It's disorienting. And then you've got the whole uncertainty of the future. What's next? Finding a new job, maybe even dealing with unemployment, all that unknown stuff can create a lot of anxiety.
Exactly. I mean, our brains, they naturally try to find patterns and predictability, right?
Yeah.
So when something big like your job security becomes uncertain, that can trigger a major stress response.
It makes sense. It's the fear of the unknown.
Mm.
But here's the thing that I found really interesting about all the information we looked at. Even with all these valid concerns, what really comes through is that you have a lot more control in this situation than you might think.
It's true.
This whole deep dive is about tapping into that control.
And that takes us to something that's really important, your mindset. It's how you think about things. Because you can have all the best strategies in the world, but if fear is holding you back, it's almost impossible to actually use them.
Yeah, it's like that mental block.
So dealing with that mental side of things, that's the first step to actually taking action.
Okay, so let's talk about these mindset shifts. One that we saw over and over again, which I thought was really powerful, is this idea of focusing on what you can control.
Right.
Instead of getting all caught up in, stressing over potential layoffs, something that's usually out of your hands, put your energy towards things you can actively change.
Love that.
Like what about learning some new skills or really working on building up your professional network and of course just really excelling at your current job.
That's the key. Where's your mental energy going? Are you spending it on hypothetical worries? Or are you putting it towards doing something concrete that can actually improve your situation right now? When you focus on the things you can control, you feel a lot more powerful.
You're not just being reactive, you're taking control. And another important shift is how you frame that fear. I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but facing your worries head on can be super helpful.
It does.
Like, there's this suggestion that we saw, which is to actually ask yourself, what's the absolute worst thing that could happen?
Yeah, like the worst case scenario.
And when you actually say it out loud, you often realize that even in a really bad situation, you have ways to adapt and recover. You start to see that you're more resilient than you thought.
Yeah, it's like you're shining a light on the fear. When it's out in the open, when you can look at it rationally, it loses some of its power over you.
Yeah.
And you start to see that even if that worst case scenario happens, there are still ways to move forward.
You find a way. And there's also this idea about balancing gratitude for your current job with a plan B mentality.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not about being negative or anything like that. It's about being prepared.
Like acknowledging the good things you have now,
Mhm.
but also looking ahead and being ready for different possibilities.
Exactly. You appreciate what you've got while also thinking, okay, what if things change?
And finding that balance is so important because feeling grateful, that can actually make you perform better in your current job. It makes you more engaged and that makes you more valuable to your employer. And then on the flip side, having that plan B in place, it gives you a sense of security. It takes away some of the fear of the unexpected.
You're ready. Okay, so we've talked about the mindset stuff. Now let's get into some really practical, actionable steps that kept popping up in the material we looked at. And the first one on the list is continuous upskilling. It's all about making yourself as indispensable as possible.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating about this is that the whole definition of indispensable is changing. It's not just about what your current job description says anymore. It's about looking ahead and developing skills that will be valuable no matter what your role is or even what industry you're in.
Right, it's about the core skills. Like we saw AI and data analysis mentioned quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot of buzz about those.
But for everyone listening, the real takeaway is to figure out which skills are becoming really important in your specific field.
Right. What's in demand?
Ask yourself, what can I learn now that would make me even more valuable in the future? What would make me someone who can adapt to change?
And it doesn't always mean you have to go back to school and get another degree or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's about learning new software or getting really good at those soft skills that everyone talks about, like communication and problem solving, or even just staying up to date on the latest technology in your field.
Right, it's staying ahead of the curve. And then there's building a really strong professional network. We saw this mentioned a lot with the saying, your network is your net worth. It's true. It's not just about having a bunch of contacts you can call when you need a job. It's about constantly building relationships and actually nurturing those connections.
It's more than just names on a list.
Yeah, think of it like building your personal board of advisors.
Yeah, because your network, it could be a real lifeline. It can give you leads on jobs, help you get insights into your industry, and even just give you some emotional support when things are tough. LinkedIn is a great tool for that, obviously. But actually getting involved in industry groups, even if they're online, and really investing in those connections, that makes a huge difference.
It's about building real relationships. Okay, here's another smart move. Diversifying your income streams. This one's all about creating a safety net for yourself, financially speaking. Even if it's just an extra couple $100 a month coming in from a side hustle, some freelance work, or even a little passive income stream, that can really take the pressure off.
Big time. It's about not putting all your eggs in one basket. When you've got income coming from multiple places, it gives you a sense of resilience, a sense of independence. It takes some of that weight off your main job.
You're not so reliant on just one thing. Okay, now this might sound basic, but it's so important. Keep your resume and your LinkedIn profile up to date. You don't want to be scrambling to remember everything you've done if a great opportunity pops up or, if things suddenly change at your current job.
Always be ready. Think
Right.
of it like prepping for your next chapter. If you regularly keep track of your wins and make sure your professional profile is current, you can showcase your value really quickly when you need to.
It's all ready to go. Okay, another crucial thing, especially when we're talking about finances, is having a solid emergency fund. We saw a recommendation to aim for 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up.
That's the sweet spot.
Yeah, and that can make all the difference. It takes away that feeling of panic, and it gives you some space to make smart decisions if you do end up losing your job.
Yeah, having that cushion can really give you peace of mind.
Mhm.
It means you can handle career transitions without feeling like you have to take any job you can get.
You're not desperate. Okay, another thing to think about is increasing your visibility at work. This is about taking initiative in meetings, raising your hand for important projects and making sure your boss and everyone else sees the value you're bringing to the team.
Yeah, make yourself indispensable. Show them how much you contribute.
Make it clear you're an essential part of the team. And then, of course, you've got to stay up to date on industry trends. Everything we read really highlighted how important this is. If your whole industry is changing, you got to be ahead of the curve. Learn those new skills and be ready to adapt.
Be an early adopter, because honestly, the best way to avoid becoming obsolete is to be informed and proactive about those changes.
Be the one pushing things forward. Okay, so we've talked about being proactive and building that security, but now let's shift gears for a minute. What if, even after all that, you do lose your job? What happens then? The material we looked at offered some great advice for handling that professionally.
Yeah, because even with the best preparation, sometimes things happen that are outside your control. So having a plan for how you're going to respond can be really helpful.
Absolutely. And the first thing, which I know can be really tough, is to try and stay calm. If you've taken all those proactive steps we talked about, you're actually in a much better position than you might feel.
You're more ready than you realize.
Yeah. Take a deep breath and process everything. Don't let panic take over.
Panic makes it impossible to think straight. Just remember all the work you've already put in
Yep.
and focus on moving forward in a strategic way.
And then tap into that professional network you've been building. Reach out to your contacts, let them know what's happened, and see if anyone has any leads or knows of any opportunities.
This is where that network becomes so valuable. Don't be afraid to ask for help or advice. You'd be surprised how many people are willing to lend a hand.
Yeah, people want to help. Okay, here are a couple of other essential things. Look into all the resources that are available to you and manage your money carefully. File for unemployment right away and really take a look at your spending. Cut back on anything that isn't absolutely necessary.
This is all about taking practical steps to get some financial relief and give yourself some breathing room.
Right. It lets you focus on finding a new job without feeling that financial pressure.
Absolutely. And to treat your job search like a full-time job. Set aside specific hours each day to really focus on finding opportunities, networking, and working on those applications.
Like create a schedule for yourself. Being organized and focused will get you much better results.
It gives you a sense of control when everything else feels uncertain. It's about taking your job search seriously, showing up for it every day.
Be your own boss. And finally, think about this. Losing your job could be a chance to make a change. Maybe it's an opportunity to explore something new, something you hadn't even considered before, something that could be even more fulfilling.
Yeah, sometimes these disruptions can open up doors you never even knew were there. It can lead to some really positive career changes. It's a chance to think about what you really want and explore all the options.
Think about your goals. Okay, so to wrap things up, even though that fear of losing your job is totally normal and understandable, you can absolutely take steps to manage it. The key is to move from worrying to actually taking action. All those strategies we talked about, continuous learning, networking, saving, and building a strong mindset, those are the tools that will make a difference.
And the best part is, those strategies don't just help you with job security. They help you grow in your career and feel more satisfied with your work, no matter what's happening in the economy.
Exactly. It's about your personal growth. And remember, so many successful people have gone through setbacks, including job loss, and come out even stronger.
For sure.
Your worth, your value as a professional goes way beyond your job title. It's about your skills, your attitude, and how you adapt to change.
And that ability to adapt, to be flexible in your career, it's so crucial in today's world. Things are changing so fast.
You have to evolve.
Embracing change and looking at challenges as opportunities to grow, that's how you find success in the long run.
So let's take that fear and turn it into motivation. Let's take that uncertainty and use it to explore some new possibilities.
It's time to take action.
Start putting these steps into practice today.
So for everyone listening, think about this for a minute. What's one concrete, actionable step that you can take right now to feel more secure in your career? What's one thing you can do today?
Yeah, what's that first step? And if you found this deep dive helpful, we'd love it if you shared it with other people in your network, especially people who might be going through the same thing.
Yeah, spread the knowledge. You never know who it might help.
You're right.
And as you're thinking about your next steps, maybe dig a little deeper into this whole idea of career agility. You could even look up some stories about people who've made successful career changes, maybe even some unexpected ones, and found something that's even more fulfilling.
Those stories are super inspiring.
They can give you some really great ideas as you keep moving forward on your own career journey.
It's about writing your own story.